Hey everybody, this is Dark Side Elite here, and I'm sorry I didn't get this review done last night. Me and a buddy of mine we were playing some video games, and today I want to get this done as soon as possible. I'm going to be at work almost all day, but I wanted to get this done as soon as possible. I got to eat my breakfast and then get myself ready. So basically, this is going to be about Batwoman, Batwoman's storyline in the Crisis on Infinite Earths Part 2. Now, this is supposed to take place about probably about a few days after all of about the death of a hero. Now, this contains some spoilers from the previous. If you haven't watched it, it's going to contain some spoilers too. I'm sorry I didn't put that in there, and this is going to be explicit. I'm sorry, going to be some language because there's a lot of crap in this episode that really chews me. Now, I watched Az's review of Crisis on Infinite Earths, and again, I like the guy. I think he has some great ideas, but he does not watch any of these shows. He said it on there. So if you're a viewer and watch these shows, then don't take his criticisms lightly. Just take it as, dude, you don't know the hell you're talking about. You know nothing about these characters. You don't know where their arcs are. You don't know what's going on. He's sitting there talking about that they cucked Superman. I go, okay, that means you must have watched Supergirl. Simple as that. If he's talking about they cucked him in that episode, then yeah, they cucked him in that episode. But if they talk about if he got cucked throughout the whole series, then how would you know that? Then that means you must have did some research. Okay, so I watched Supergirl. I didn't watch the last two seasons mainly because it went so SJW and they doubled down on all that pandering. I couldn't watch it. Now, one of the biggest things that I did. Now we catch up with them talking about Oliver Queen. Sarah pours a drink, and Batwoman is like, she really doesn't know Oliver, so she can't really drink a toast. I'm sitting there going, yes, you can. He's a fallen hero. Just drink a damn toast. I mean, come on. There's nothing. It's not like you have to intimately know him or you have to have known him for so long. Just realize that he's a hero and he died saving a lot of lives. So they really are doubling down on the fact that Kate has a very offstandish, selfish type of attitude when it comes to things. I don't care how you want to how you guys try to view that, but that is a standard amongst heroes. If a hero dies, you all drink a toast. It doesn't matter. There were heroes that never met Superman. Never met Superman. There were villains that drunk a toast to Superman when he died. That tells you something. It's an impact. It's the death of a strong hero. And she didn't want to drink to it. I understand Kara because she felt that Oliver died to protect all of them, to save Barry and Kara from this crisis. So she doesn't want that anymore. And I'm like, Kara, you've been at this game for close to 5 years. You know that people are going to make sacrifices. You should be I'm not going to say happy, but you should be appreciative that someone is willing to put their lives on the line to make sure that you have a destiny. So I personally don't like the way they were writing Kara in this. It's like she is so broken. She is so broken as a character. Sorry. She is so broken as a character that she can't get behind other heroes. Like she can't get behind the decisions that Oliver made. So you get Mia, you get all of them, and the Monitor tells them about the Paragons, and Barry makes a phenomenal comment. Why didn't you tell us about this earlier? We could have went off to go find these people. Monitor's like, dude, first of all, one, he wasn't sure that all this was gonna happen. He wasn't truly sure. He only sees certain events. Hell, Oliver's death surprised him. He said that was not supposed to happen. That was not supposed to be the end of his story. So that tells to you that something's changing, to the fact that something is changing and everybody's fates are changing. Everybody's destinies are changing. And there's a lot of things you could do. You could say that Oliver made the choice himself and it bypassed the cosmic balance. So even the Monitor was like, hey, wait a minute, that was not supposed to happen. That should tell you something, that something is going to change, and the Monitor is going to give Barry the opportunity to change his own fate and destiny. That's why I feel that's going to happen. That is my headcanon. I still still to this day will say they need to make it the 90s Flash. The 90s, John Wesley ships Barry Allen should be the one that runs into the Speed Force and literally prevents all of Crisis. That would honestly be the greatest end to his version of the Flash, and he could officially retire himself being Barry Allen the Flash. It's now passed on to Grant Gustin and Ezra Miller and anybody else. And I will be perfectly happy, and I think Hawk will be perfectly happy with that. I told him that, and he said, no, I like that. That'd be a great way to end it. Great way to end his storyline, bookend his storyline. So, so he talked to him about these different Paragons, these 7 Paragons. And he says that we already have the Paragon of Hope, and that's Kara. He says we got to find the Paragon of Truth and the Paragon of Courage, and you have to go to the future Bat. So we're thinking, oh, we're going to see, this is where we're going to see Kevin Conroy's Batman. I'm like, okay, great. That'd be great. Let's see what happens here. And the Paragon of Truth, they got to find a different Kryptonian. And they got to find a Kryptonian that has been through more loss than any person could bear. And I'm like, okay, all right. So we know that that's going to be Brandon Routh / Christopher Reeve's Superman. We know that's that version of Superman. And so they go on their merry ways. We get some hilarity there. There's some little things that's going on here and there. Now, I don't want to get into the smaller stuff. We get understanding that they need a wave rider. So Harbinger goes to a different universe and talks to find another wave rider, even though they have one. And Sarah says, "Oh, I told them no more crossovers." So she broke the fourth wall, and I'm like, "What? No more crossovers? What the hell are you talking about? We just need the ship. We don't need everybody else." Whatever. Okay, fine. So they go and look for another wave rider, and they find it on Earth 89, I think it is. So it's the same universe as the 89 Batman. That's where this wave rider is. I might be wrong, but I think it was Earth 89. So Harbinger goes there, and she meets the Mick Rory of that version of the Legends, and and he rebuilt the whole ship. He rebuilt the whole thing. And he also took out the Gideon personality and made it more the Leo personality, the Leonard personality. So it has went with Miller's voice, and he's controlling the ship. So he controls the ship. They do a little bit of comedy and move on the merry way. So on the ship, you have this tone, and it's talking about the fact that all these different Paragons and this and that. And this is where he mentions about the Paragons. I'm sorry, this is where he mentions about the Paragons. And you have a baby sitting there crying, and it stops him from talking, and they're sitting there doing a hot potato with this baby. And this is where I agree with Az. Now, I will link Az's video at the very bottom of this. I do recommend you guys to watch it. However, take what he says and just go, okay, but don't take it as fact, because he does not watch these shows. I am saying right now, I have not watched any ounce of Batwoman. I just watched the reviews, and I got enough of the writing in this episode to know these writers don't know Kate Kane, and they definitely don't know Batman. They definitely do not know Batman. So Batman's character for this universe, but they got the version of the future Batman. I love that version of Batman. I was like, yes, this is the Batman. Okay. And you're going to understand the reason why, because there are things in there that if you really break the scenes down, it's Batman. But there's a lot more going on with him. Okay, so when Kara is revealed that she's the Paragon of Hope, she says, I have no hope. My planet is completely destroyed. She's pissed off and this and that. And here's the thing that made me go, woman, you lost 2 planets. So did Clark. Your cousin lost 2 planets. One he knew nothing about, which is Krypton, and he understood it through a third person. He now had a tip of Krypton in his hands when he was raising his baby there, and he loses that one. And he lost Earth, his home. And you're sitting here talking about you have no hope? Talk to Clark. Get relevance from Clark. Clark, Clark leaned on you about the fact that that his baby is out there. He doesn't know where his baby's at, and he has to save this planet. You lost 2 planets. How can you be hopeful? How can you look to a better tomorrow? And you gave him this great line about Krypton, about that Krypton is not it's not a place anymore. It's a spirit. You shared our home with this planet. There's museums about our planet. There's all this stuff about Krypton. Krypton's never not dead anymore. It's now alive. It's alive through you. It's alive through me. It's alive through all the things we've shared with this planet. I go, that's exactly how Clark should feel right now. And you're sitting here talking about you have no hope because your planet went poof. Get the heck out of here. These writers do not understand the concept of how to get characters to they don't understand the arcs of certain characters. If you have Kara at a certain plateau and gave Clark hope, why is she now talking about she has no hope? Where is that at? Where is it? It doesn't make any sense. To me, it makes no sense. If a character is already inspired to instill hope into her cousin, who basically is talking about that he just lost he lost Argo City. He doesn't know much about Krypton, but Krypton's gone to him, and now his son is gone. He has to do this and this and this. He's a father, one to go save his kid, but he realizes he has to save the planet. The planet needs Superman, and his cousin gives him a great level of wisdom and an inspiration. But in this one, I have no hope. I'm like, get the hell. Oh my God. There's a jar there. I'm sorry. I'm not saying that she shouldn't. What I'm saying is get us up to that point. Rear us up to it. Okay? If she just watched her planet go poof and she tries to go talk to her cousin, you can see his cousin holding on to Lois, and she goes, who the heck can she lean on? She can't lean on her cousin because her cousin is leaning on Lois. Her sister is dead. Her sister is gone. Martian Manhunter is gone. They don't know where they're at. I'm not saying they're dead, but she doesn't know where they're at. So I'm sitting here going, that's where you build up the emotional tension for her, because she can't go to her cousin because her cousin will not have the answer. Will not have the answer. That's where you get her to the point where she says, I have no hope. And you have Clark kind of looking at her like, what do you mean? Or him just sitting there looking at it, and even he can't say nothing. He can't say nothing. It won't make sense to him because he can't make how is he gonna feel? He's just as hopeless as she is. But again, just the writing, just it's jarring a little bit. Okay, it's jarring. It's not piss poor. It's just jarring. It's detached. That's the word. It's detached from what you did in the previous episode and now this one. There's a disconnect somewhere. So he says that Kate Kane and Kara are gonna go to the future Bat. Lois and Clark and Iris are gonna go and see about this future the other Kryptonian, which is the Brandon Routh's version. Brandon Routh's Ray Palmer, Ray is building a Paragon detector so they can be able to easily try to detect these people. So that's pretty much what this next set of episodes are. I have a huge suspicion the 90s Flash is a Paragon, and so is Black Lightning. Black Lightning is going to be a Paragon. Even though right now in his series, they're dealing with an occupation. And he's now a little bit hopeless. He's enraged. He's furious. It's like he's on all over the spectrum, and now they're pulling him in, and his universe goes poof like that, and now he's the last hero on his planet. Oh, of his planet, what? And now they're going to thrust upon him. I believe they're going to say he's a Paragon, and so was the 90s Flash. That's why they brought him back. So I have a huge suspicion there's going to be a lot going on there, and then they're going to have the Paragons confront against the Anti-Monitor and his cohorts, which is going to be Harbinger. Hopefully we get to see the Reverse Flash, and also Psycho Pirate, because we know they have to be a part of it. Psycho Pirate has to be a part of it. So, but I don't want to. Again, that's my headcanon. I'm wondering what this next episode is going to do. So we get to the future. We get to the future Batman, and then we see them knock on the door, and Kara makes a stupid joke about the fact that so every Batman has to live in like a crypt or something. I'm like, really? Dude, that's Wayne Manor. What the hell are you talking about? There's a Batman on your universe. You know this. She knows this. So, and she knows that that version of Batman and Clark, they're okay with each other. They're acquaintances, but they don't consider themselves friends. And I'm like, okay, that's perfectly fine. And I know people got pissed off about that. Another tangent. Sorry. So they get there and she makes a stupid crack joke, and then Kate's in there making another dipstick joke. They get to the door and they knock on the door, and then the actor that's playing as Luke Fox on her planet comes out, and the dude looks jacked. He's having an 8-pack. He looks like he's confident. He looks like, dude, what the hell are you doing? Who are you? And she's like, like she. Now one guy sitting there saying, now Az sit there and said that she forgot that she's a lesbian. I'm like, no, she's just shocked at the fact that, dude, the guy that she looked at for all this time, he looks like a geek. He looks like a pencil neck geek. Like, she can easily break him. Here, this dude looks jacked. So her perspective of Luke is gonna completely change when she gets back. She'd be like, dude, you can look like a boss. What the F? So she didn't forget she was a freaking lesbian. She just shocked over the fact of, this is Luke? Like, this is what he looks like? Oh, wow. She didn't forget she was a lesbian. She was just shocked. So that's one I don't agree with Az on. So he says that, who are you? She says, we're here to see Bruce Wayne. I'm his cousin Kate. He goes, no. And he closes the door on them. I'm like, thank you. Thank you. That is the perfect way to answer the question. No, you're not. Bye. And closes the door on him. Close the door on him. And then she's sitting there knocking on the door. He doesn't even answer. Doesn't answer. He's just waiting. He's just posting right there going, he gets a gun and just holds it. And you're like, wait a minute. That should have been a red flag. A gun in Wayne Manor? Okay, that should have been a little bit of a red flag. Now, people can detest, and I'll even defend it and say that, yeah, Alfred had a shotgun in Wayne Manor. I mean, Alfred had weapons in Wayne Manor. He's very particular about where he shoots because he's a Deadeye. But yeah, I'm okay. I'm perfectly okay with that. I'm okay with that. I'm okay. So I didn't go into it about it. So it was more of a I'm okay. So what happened is that Kara goes, you mind? She goes, okay. And she kicks the door in. And then he goes, hold it right there. And he has a gun pointed right at them. Now, Kara should be like, that's not going to hurt me. And then that's when you hear clunk, clunk. And he goes, Luke. And you're hearing his voice. Now, here's the thing. We've heard Kevin Conroy before for years as Batman. In this, he does not sound like Batman. He doesn't. It's like his voice is completely different. He has more of an ashier voice. It's more grizzled. It's more grounded. Like it feels like it's going through a grater, and not in a bad way. I feel that there's a reason behind that. So we get introduced to that, and then he looks at her and he goes Kate, like that, and she goes Bruce, and you're like, okay. That we now cut to now this might be a little out of order. I'm sorry. I do not want to watch this episode again. I'm sorry. I don't. There's some great scenes in here, but there's some other terrible scenes. So let's go back a little bit. They ask about, how did you know all this? He says, I consulted with the Book of Destiny. They go, wait a minute. The Book of Destiny was destroyed. He recreates it using his powers, and the moment he recreates it, Harbinger sees it for a second, and she starts going going almost into epilepsy, and she starts hearing voices, and that's when he talks about it. So that's a setup. Now the payoff is also, you come to find out that the Monitor brought Lex back, which pisses off Kara, because she's like, dude, he should be dead. Why is he brought back? And he goes, he has a part to play. She goes, and all those billions of people didn't, but that's what I'm saying is her character doesn't understand. If Lex has a part to play, then she should watch it play out. The Monitor can't save everybody. That's the whole purpose of Crisis. If he could just easily save everybody, he would have done it. And I think that if someone came out of the blue and literally told her that, it would crunch everything how she's feeling. But they didn't do that because they wanted her to get angrier and angrier and angrier and more bitter. And it's like, wait a minute. I understand. Now, here's the thing. I understand her hatred towards Lex. That's understandable. That's all on her series. But her anger should not be focused on the monitor. Her anger should be more focused on the fact that Lex is back. Now, if he says that Lex has a part to play, she should just listen to it and follow what he's trying to say. Because if he could save all of the billions of people in all the multiverse, in each universe, he would have done it. He would have done it. But he can't. He says, my power is not infinite. My power is finite. I cannot just save every person. If that was the case, I wouldn't need you. I would do it myself. So there's obviously something I need for you to do. And he said that to Barry and Oliver. My powers are not infinite. I'm a powerful cosmic being, but I have finite levels of power. I just can't save everybody from this crisis. There's a reasoning why it happens. Stupid. Again, just really weird writing. Detached writing. Not piss poor. Piss poor means that they gave no S to anything else. This one was detached from, it kept the consensus of the idea, but it was detached from what was going on from the previous to this, in a way that you could say it didn't care. So it wasn't a truly piss poor. Like they just went onto a weird tangent and just told its own story. No, it's trying to link to what was going on. So that's the setup for Lex. Then you come up with Harbinger. She walks in and Lex takes the book and she's sitting there saying, "What the hell are you doing with the book?" He says, "Oh, I'm going to find a way to kill all the Superman across the multiverse," because he realized that if he kills all of them, that means that if they even save the multiverse, there's no Superman. And I'm like, what? You're dumb. That is the dumbest plan. Lex, in a way, would, but he wouldn't do it right now. He would never just come out of nowhere and completely erode the whole plan. He would never just do something that's stupid. He would earmark it to when they finally do, I got the Book of Destiny. He'll walk in, take the Book of Destiny as they save the rest of the multiverse, take the Book of Destiny and leave. That's what Lex would do. He would actually, in a way, try to become the savior of the multiverse so he can lord it all over everybody. That's Lex. John Cryer's Lex is more of the Lex. He's like a Michael Rosenbaum / Gene Hackman side of Lex. He's very sinister and sneaky, and he's more like a rat. And that's not what they should have did with this version of Lex. They should have made him as he's a master planner. Dude, he has the opportunity right now to be a hero and lord it over Superman. Lord it over everybody. Nope, I saved the multiverse. You couldn't do it without me. That's Lex. That's Lex. And this version of Lex is not a just made Lex. This guy's been around. This version of Lex has been around for a while now. So that's why I went, that makes absolutely no sense. No sense whatsoever, because he would have just tried to save the multiverse and earmarked the fact that that Book of Destiny could do what it wants. Okay. And then when they're sitting there trying to figure everything out, he just walks in, takes the Book of Destiny and leaves. You saved the multiverse. Great. He goes, you guys screwed up my plan to try to save the multiverse and lord it over you. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go around and kill all the Superman. And that could have been Supergirl's storyline throughout the rest of the season. Her going around trying to stop Lex from killing all the Superman across the multiverse. Oh my God. You wrote something, you put something in there that made absolute sense to Lex. He would go for the Book of Destiny, but he would never do it at the expense of the multiverse. Because if they lose, he loses. He's about survival. He would never jeopardize the multiverse and his own self-interests. He would never do that. He'd be like, nope. He goes, I will work with Superman for one time only. I will save the multiverse. But I will plan that the moment they're sitting there talking about, like, hey, you know, we saved the multiverse. He'll walk in, take the Book of Destiny, walk out and go, yep, thank you. And they're like, hey, what are you doing? I'm going to go kill all the Superman. Bye. And boop, and go away. And the monitor be like, damn, I didn't see that coming. What? Like, whoa. That could have been your the rest of your season for Supergirl. Her running around the multiverse, trying to stop freaking Lex. Or at least about 3 or 4 episodes. He's going around killing all the Superman. Okay, so we catch up to them going to Smallville. Now, this is the Smallville from the Smallville universe. It's Earth 167 or 169. And yeah, I think it's 169. And you see Tom Welling's Clark Kent, and they portrayed him very well. That is close to Clark Kent from Smallville. Tom Welling did a really good job, and he looks big. He makes Tyler Hoechlin look like a toothpick. I mean, Jesus Christ, they could. And here's the thing about Tyler Hoechlin himself. The dude could get big himself. The guy was on Teen Wolf. The guy looked like he was jacked. He was ready to go. How he looks in this makes no sense. He looks small, comparable to Tom Welling and even Brandon Routh. Brandon Routh looked huge comparable to freaking Tyler Hoechlin. Ray Palmer looks bigger than Tyler Hoechlin. That's bad. To me, that was terrible. So, sorry, it's getting hot in here. So they show up, and then they tell him about the multiverse and everything, and he kind of looks at him like, He's trying to ascertain what the heck was going on, and then the moment he tries to turn around and says, and then they said that, so what's going on here? They go, well, we got a bigger problem. Lex is coming here. He's like, huh. So the president of the United States is gonna grace us with his being. They're like, what? Like, I was like, wow. There's 2 things about that whole thing that I didn't like. No, there's the one thing. That was the one thing I didn't like about that scene. Actually, 2. I'm sorry, 2. So right when he's taking off his gloves, right when he's about to take off his gloves, they disappear, and he turns around and he goes, huh. All right. And then the moment he turns around, a portal opens and John Cryer's Lex comes out, and he goes, who are you? And he goes, I am your mortal nemesis. I am Lex Luthor. He's like, no, you're not. He walked away. I was like, wow. They wrote that perfect. He didn't give nothing on that version of Lex. He was like, dude, no, you're not. You're not Lex. You're not Lex. Lex would not be this stupid. Lex would never be this stupid. And they did a really good job with that. And so they go through their conversations, and he pulls out kryptonite. And he looks at it like, and he's in there going, and I'm going to kill you. And he's like, and Tom he grabs it and goes, huh, and throws it away. He's like, but John Cryer played that perfectly. They did a good job with this scene, with portions of this scene. He looked at me, but that's kryptonite. He's like, yeah, that would have worked on me if I had my powers. He's like, you gave away your powers? You were a god. You could fly. And you're a crunch. And he kind of goes, what? And he looks down, puts his foot up, and you see a broken tractor. He looks and goes, really? He goes, yep. He goes, and that's when he reveals that no amount of power in the world can replace the fact that he can have a family. And there's a reasoning why they did that scene. There's a reason why they wrote it that way, and there's a reasoning why they emphasized with it with Tyler and also with Tom Welling. And I'll get into that in my last portions of this review. So he talks about, he rants and raves, and then right when Tom Welling's about to turn away, he reaches back to punch him, and Tom Welling grabs his fist and decks him. He hits him so hard and drops him. And he goes, and you're like, dude, he just punked him without his powers. Clark punked him without his powers. Man, they wrote that very well. That's exactly what Tom Welling would have done. His version of Clark would have done that. Powers or no, he would deck that person. He'd be like, no, pow, get out of my way, dude. You're a nobody. And it was great. It was great. I think a lot of people should be applauding to that, because that's Tom Welling's Superman. That is his version of Superman. That is his version of Clark Kent. Not just Superman, but that's his version of Clark. He does not like getting pushed around. He is not a guy that gets pushed around. His dad taught him to, push back, but hold back because of your powers. but don't let people push you around. And he gave up his powers. He gave up his powers for his kids. Kind of find out he has two kids. You saw Erica Durant looking as gorgeous as she always has. They still have that great level of chemistry. And then she says, "So what's happening here, Smallville?" And no, what's happening? And he goes, "Oh, Lex showed up, and the multiverse is in a pickle, and all that." And she's like, "You almost got me there, Smallville. After 10 years, you finally were able to crack a joke." And he went, like, "So what's going on?" She goes, "Well, the girls made a mess, and they want Daddy to see it." And he goes, "Well, that looks like a job for us." And he takes her hand, and they walk back to the farm. I'm like, that's a great way to bookend that story. So now we know what's the end story, the end game for Tom Welling Superman. He's gonna give up his powers so he can have a family with Lois. Now at the end, I'm gonna talk at the end of this review. I'm gonna try to get through a little bit faster. I don't want this too long because I got to get to work now. In about 15, 20 minutes. One, they finally get to Kate and Bruce. They're talking about, like, this is what happened, that Kate went out there and she was not capable enough and got herself killed. And that sent her down a spiral. All the losses started compounding itself on them. Now, this is where this is where Heels versus Babyface, or AZ, this is where he completely detaches himself from the scene. He just doesn't give two craps about the scene because he doesn't like this version of Batman. He doesn't like this version of Batman. He wants the Batman that he knows on that screen so he can get giddy and be happy about it. That's what he wanted. He doesn't understand the scope of this scene because they did something that was in kindred to Ben Affleck and Zack Snyder's Batman. That's what they did in this scene because this was not Kingdom Come Batman. This was not Kingdom Come Batman. This was Frank Miller's Batman. This was Frank Miller's. He didn't give two craps. He started killing all of his villains. And he said that after he took out the Joker, it felt good. It felt better. And he realized that he wasn't doing anything. And it got easier and easier for him to kill every single one of them. And now you see Kara, because they're talking. Kara is looking, she's using her goggles. She's using her X-ray vision to find the Batcave and finds the suit. And then she sees all the trophies. The Joker card, Mr. Freeze's ice glass, his the little snow globe, the snow globe. Also, you see the Riddler's cane is broken. I'm like, wow, he's having trophies. He killed every single one of his villains. He didn't give two shits. Two shits. I'm sorry. Again, I'm gonna put explicit language on here so you guys know that there's gonna be some cursing because this was the Batman I wanted to see. I did not want to see traditional Batman. They would have cucked him. They know they would have cucked him. They would have screwed him up. They already screwed him up on Batwoman. So they gave us a darker version of Bruce, a darker version of Batman, more towards the end of Frank Miller / Kingdom Come, where he didn't give two shits and said, "No, if you're in my way, you go away." That's pretty much what it is. I'll send you away. So then she sees glasses with a broken lens about this big. So you see it was a gun. It was like a gunshot. And blood is all over it. And she goes, "Is that?" He goes, "Yep. That's Superman. Clark Kent." And he goes, "Would he kill this universe of Superman?" He goes, "Well, yeah. Who do you think put him in that exosuit?" Like, whoa. So they had their fight. And that version of Clark broke Bruce and made him go, "Okay." And he basically he probably put two bullets in his face and then killed him and walked away. Done. Click. I'm like, wow. So this is what we're at. This version of Bruce doesn't give two shits. So he's talking to Kate. And Kate's starting to realize, like, wait a minute, you're not Bruce. And he goes, "Of course I'm Bruce. You're just not the Kate that I know. You're just a ghost from the past." And that's when Kara comes down and says that he goes, this universe has no hope. And she goes, And Kara says, "That's because you killed this planet Superman." And he says exactly what anybody else with a right mind says. An alien comes down with the powers of a god, and we're supposed to revere him? We're supposed to take him at his word? No. And I'm like, yeah, anybody with their right mind is going to say that. Like, wait a minute, why should I revere this guy who can bench press planets? I'm not going to freaking want that. That's a reasonable minded person. But again, the audience does not want to hear this. They don't want the wizard behind the wizard behind the curtain to be revealed about Batman's mentality. Batman is a broken man. He's broken. He's mired in being broken. He has to be broken to be an effective person. And I think that a lot of writers know that about his character. You don't write a person that just gets his mother and father killed in an alleyway and he's a reasonably sane person. No, Batman's not reasonably sane. He's screwed up. Why do you think the relationship between Batman and Superman is so important to a lot of us? Because that is the reasoning why Bruce can devolve himself so far into becoming Batman, and there is no more Bruce Wayne. Clark makes him feel like he can be Bruce Wayne again, but still be Batman. Still be that effective Batman, because he believes in justice. But this version of Bruce, I am shocked they did this on television. I'm shocked that even WB allowed them to do this. I'm shocked. I applaud Kevin Conroy for even doing this scene, because she comes up and he decks her. He knocks her flat almost 15 feet away from her. He hits her so hard. She's like, "What the?" And I'm like, you think this dude's exosuit just make him able to walk? This dude can punch through walls. No way, dude. You're not going to get anywhere close to him. Now, he literally said the line from BVS, and I felt that is the reason why they did this, because it was a homage to Zack Snyder. It was a homage to Zack Snyder, because he made that big of an impact. His Batman was phenomenal. Ben Affleck's Batman, it was phenomenal. He literally said the line, "My parents taught me a different lesson, lying dying in a gutter." And he said the line about, if I'm gonna look it up real quick. So I get that line. Let me see. Here it is. "I bet your parents taught you." He goes, "My parents taught me a different lesson. Dying in the gutter for no reason at all. They taught me the world will only make sense if you force it to." You literally had Kevin Conroy say that line. It was beautiful. It was beautiful. It represented everything of how he personally feels. How he feels. It's his justification to why he's doing what he's doing. He says his parents taught him a different lesson. The world will only make sense if you force it to. You have to force the world to make sense to you so you can truly live on. And he says that there is no rhyme and reason why these criminals have to be around, so I'm going to get rid of them. They're dead. Yes, it should unnerve us. Like, wow. But it should make us understand that this is Batman. This could be Batman right off the bat. This is how he truly thinks and why he's angry. Why he's angry. But again, heels versus babyface. Anybody can have their own understanding of Batman and go, but that's not the Batman that I want. Say that. That's not the Batman that I wanted. Okay. But you can't say that that's not Batman. That is Batman. He underlined the fact that these writers know nothing of Batman. I go, yeah, I think they did. They understood exactly what Batman is. He's a crazy man. He's crazy. He's screwed up. He's a broken person. It doesn't matter if he goes out there and saves people's lives. He is a broken person, and saving each life gives him his humanity slowly back. But he has to go against Poison Ivy, who's a botanist, who's an eco-terrorist. He has to deal with a Riddler, a narcissist puzzle maker. He has to deal with Harvey. He has to deal with Harvey Two-Face Dent, who basically kills people, induces, and flips a coin to make a decision. To help him make a decision. The Penguin, a Napoleon complex individual that's a gun runner and a mobster. We don't need to get into the Joker. Everyone should know who the Joker is. This guy loves to push Batman's buttons. Batman is a broken person to have to deal with this every single night. But he does it because it's the right thing to do. But he's still a broken person. Same goes for Clark. No matter if he has Lois with him, no matter if he has Jonathan, no matter if he has the planet, he has his mother and his father, he's still the last Kryptonian. If you don't introduce his cousin, if you don't introduce Argo City, you don't introduce anything that has relevance to Krypton or Zod, or actually introduce Zod, he's still the last son of Krypton. He is the last of his race. He cannot allow these other Kryptonians to come in and try to destroy his planet. That's the core of his character. That is the core of the crux of what Clark isn't alone. He's always going to feel alone. He is not this. He is the last of his own people. His cousin gives him relevance. His cousin gives him groundation that you're not alone. But if you take that away, you never introduce it, is he going to be the same exact Superman? No, he's going to feel alone. He can have Lois. He can feel not such a symbiote of being alone or isolation, but he's still, in a way, he's going to feel isolated and alone because he doesn't know nothing about his people, nothing about Krypton. Same goes for Bruce. Same goes for Batman. He has to be mired in self-destruction because that's the only way he can be effective because he's broken. He's a broken man. He had a great childhood until some monster shows up out of the night with a gun and kills his mom and dad over some money. Come on. Wake the fuck up. Stop living in a dream world. That's Batman. That's Superman. Diana, cursed to never be able to go home again. She can never go back to Themyscira. So people say, well, they did that in Justice League Unlimited because they wanted to tell more stories. They can't have her always away from Themyscira. They did a couple of arcs with her going back to Themyscira, but she can never go home. Her mother, at the end of the arc, her mother exiles her away from Themyscira for bringing men there. She says she can never go home again. That's always been Wonder Woman's curse. She can never go home. She has to go through the 12 labors like Hercules. She has to go through the 12 trials. She has to do all these acts and prove that man's world can be saved and she can go home again. That's always been her freaking thing. People keep forgetting that. The fastest man alive, Barry Allen, he can do anything he wants with time travel, but he can never save his mother because it would cause ripple effects. It would destroy things. So he has to always know that Eobard Thawne killed his mom, and he can never change it. He can never change it. These are the core. These are the personality cores of these characters. Always has been. You could change certain things about it, but you can't change the fundamental core of the characters. Clark is an isolated, alone alien. He is an alien on this planet. If you don't want to feel that for his character, then say that. But don't say that that's not Superman. Yes, it is Superman. Now I'm going to get into another video about Tom Welling's Superman, and why I personally think that they messed up on his character, but they did a good job. And what was his true arc in all from season 1 to season 10? What was his true arc? It was never to become Superman. And I'll do that one probably in another few days. So I'm gonna wait till one of my other days off, and I'll do that video. But let's get into this. So basically, one of the dumbest displays. Bruce pulls out a piece of kryptonite to kill Kara, and right when he's about to reach up to try to take her out, Kate runs up, grabs his fist, and stops it. How? He was able to display a level of strength to punch a Kryptonian, a fully powered Kryptonian, 15 feet away. How is Kate capable of stopping him from clubbing down? How? Az even said that, and I went, yeah, I know, I agree. I blanked out through most of that fight sequence because it was stupid. I was like, how the hell is Kate even able to fight Batman? But she beat him. She punched him once, and he fell back into a transformer, and basically electrocuted himself and died. And he said, and his last words were, "Kate, there is no hope." And you see on her face like, oh, like because she killed her cousin. So they go back. Now they go back. Now we catch up with them going to Earth, Earth 77. Oh no, Earth 96. It was Earth 96, and they see that on. So you see you see Clark and Lois, Tyler Hoechlin and Elizabeth Turlock's character. They're walking down the street, and then they see on the big view screen. They say that it shows a picture of Lex killing Superman, and it says that Lex Luthor came in, killed Superman, and disappeared into a portal. So you have the death of Superman. So they say, well, that Superman on this planet is dead, so now we got to look on another planet. So they go to another planet, and then that's when they meet up with Christopher Reeve's Superman, who's now the editor-in-chief of the planet. And this was the greatest display of everybody should sit back and go, now you understand what Dick Donner was doing with the relationship between Margot Kidder and Christopher Reeve. They were trying to demonstrate that she's attracted to Superman, but also Clark. Now, this version of Lois is married to Tyler Hoechlin. But the way they were displaying it is that when she looked into his eyes, when she looked at him, it's like she's looking at him for the first time again. It's like she's looking at the geekier side of him and seeing the great power of Superman, and she's enthralled. It's like, oh my God, like she's falling back in love with him. And I know everybody could take the scene. Me personally, that's what I was getting from the scene. It was them recreating that chemistry between Lois Lane and Clark Kent again. Now, he says, and Brandon Routh is like, have we met before? And his portrayal, his pushing the glasses up, and his little meek self, it was beautifully done. His mannerisms were near perfect. I'm sorry, perfect. It was perfect. And she says, no, I don't think so. And then you see Tyler Hoechlin's Superman sitting there going, like this. I'm sitting there going, wait a minute, why is he feeling that way? That makes absolutely no sense. And again, somebody, you can say down below, any guy would be that way. I go, not Superman. Why would he be insecure? She's fallen in love with Superman. Who the hell cares? She's going to leave with me anyway. He's confident about that. He has a kid with her. She's not going to just upchuck and leave Superman for a Superman. That makes absolutely no sense. It makes absolutely no sense. So stupid. So in a way they cucked him. They made him just sit there and just get so massively insecure that he had to clear his throat just to snap him out of their little enthrallment. I'm like, dude, he should just walk up and go, "We need your help." That's it. That's all he has to say. He doesn't have to basically kind of push her behind him and do that. Superman would never need to do that in the first place because he's confident. He's confident in himself. He knows, I'm Superman. This is Superman. She's just enthralled by Superman. Who the F cares? Who the fuck cares? Who cares? You're making it more than it needs to be. You could have fixed that whole scene, but they made it where they cucked him. They cucked Tyler Hoechlin Superman for the third time in the whole episode. I agree. There was 3 times they cucked him. Bad. So they go into there and he says that, he goes, Lex? I've dealt with Lex many, many times. It's nothing like that. She goes, he has the Book of Destiny and this and this and this. So then he just gallantly walks right through the door and they're like, what? No. They talk about the multiverse and then he does the voop, voop, and he's in his suit and he goes, and then Tyler Hoechlin goes, voop, voop. And you're like, okay, that seems pretty cool. And then that's when freaking good old Lex just walks right in through the door. No one's screaming out, hey, wait a minute, who the hell are you? You know, they're not screaming anything out. He just appears. And then he said, I'm sick and tired of killing Superman. So it's going to be fun to see Superman kill Superman. I'm like, oh, Jesus, God. So that's why we see in the scenes where you see Brandon Routh holding Tyler Hoechlin by the throat. And you're like, okay, that makes a lot of sense. This now makes sense. So he corrupts him to the point where he's so angry about what he lost that he is following Lex's own directive. So they fight, and Tyler Hoechlin and Superman is getting wrecked. I'm like, this is sad. This is sad. And then instead of giving us a good, grittier song, no, they're playing the John Williams theme, which makes absolutely no sense. But again, and as does it again, he kind of goes into this tirade about the fact that tone and the fact that the writers did that. And I go, no, that's not writers. Writers don't dictate what music goes where. They just dictate how the scene is portrayed. It's the showrunner that dictates what song goes where and this and this and this. So, okay, now we're getting to now we're gonna start catching up. So, Tyler Hoechlin gets his butt kicked. Brandon Routh shows up. They knock Lex out during all of this, which was funny. They knock Lex out, and then then they use the book to reveal that it's about love. So they try to get him to force to try to remember why he's Superman, why he's still Superman, why is this, why is that, why this, why that, why this, why that, and he finally breaks his blood rage, and he goes, oh, and he's like, you're okay, and he goes, well, it's not the other, this is the second time I had to fight an evil version of myself, and he picks him up. You're like, yep, that's Christopher Reeve Superman. It's Christopher Reeve Superman. So, and it makes sense. Now, anybody who asks, like, why was he beating the crap out of him? Because you also got to realize that Superman's powers come from the sun. The longer he's under the sun, the more powerful he gets. So this version of Brandon Routh's version is the Superman that's like literally in his 60s. He's going to be way more powerful than the younger version of himself. Way more powerful. So yes, I can see that he's going to tear him apart. He's going to beat the living daylights out of him. So it makes sense to me. You got to go back and read the comics. But I wish they kind of explained it, like, and then, like, wait a minute, you're both Superman, right? You're both very powerful. Why was he able to overpower? And he kind of goes, well, and then you have his version say, well, my power comes from the yellow sun, right? They go, yeah, well, the longer I'm under the sun, the more powerful I get. So, and they're going, oh, and he goes, oh, I kind of knew that. He goes, yeah. He goes, it ends it right there. He goes, yeah, I've been under this yellow sun for a long, long time, probably longer than you have. So yeah, I'm gonna be more powerful. He ends it right there, just done. Just ends it, done. Move on. So now they're on the Wave Rider, and he's sitting there talking to, basically Brandon Routh talking to Brandon Routh, and he's like, wow, I didn't know I'm that big and I'm Superman. Wow, like, oh, he's pretty cool. And they're sitting there going, Paragon creator? And he's like, oh, yeah. So he activates the device, and then that's when Bitchface and Supergirl shows up. And you can still see on Kate's face that she's very shaken over the fact that she murdered her cousin. And they activate the device, and then they say that, hey, wait a minute, all this light, blah, blah. He goes, it doesn't work. And then the monitor says, yeah, it worked. All the Paragons all the Paragons that are found are here. He's like, the hell you mean by that? He goes, the one in the future bad, he murdered all those heroes. Why don't you tell us what the heck is really going on here? And I'm sitting there going, oh my God, we're back at this crap. We're back at this bullshit again. So he says that, no, I told you will go there and confirm the future the Paragon of Courage. And it's Kate. I bust up laughing. I was like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Kate Kane, the worst written character in all of CW. I mean, literally, Felicity is written, I mean, a masterpiece better than freaking Kate Kane. This chick is written like literally a second grader who just started reading comic books is saying, here's the ideas I would like to do. And this makes absolutely no sense. It is the worst thing to ever do. You basically bitched Soup Batman, killed him off, and said, nope, his cousin's now the paragon of courage. All right, we move on. We get towards the end, and now you see she's sitting down. Both of them are sitting down and they're talking and everything. And she mentions that Kara mentions that she's going to use the Book of Destiny to bring back her planet. And Kate's like, but the Monitor says, she goes, I don't care. He goes, how can I be a paragon of hope if I cannot bring my planet back? So she basically they're drinking the beer and she leaves. And you see Kate kind of reach in and she takes out the same little cup that has the kryptonite in it, and you see her face like, oh, I don't know if I'm gonna use this. I'm like, you're definitely gonna use this, bitch. You're gonna use it. You don't care. They're creating this friendship over nothing. This makes absolutely no sense to this character because she's a bitch and Kara's broken. Kara's a broken person. And I want to see sometimes heroes broken because it makes them become better heroes later. It's called arcs, and I want to see that. And I want to see them rise Kara to the occasion. Kara's going to rise to the occasion in this season. I think we're going to finally get the Kara back that we had back in season 1 and 2. She's going to take things seriously, but I have a feeling that she's going to move forward and actually be more close to the Kara that we all know. She's going to be inspired to have hope again. Because I know in the last 2 seasons, she's been going down a darker path. And I think that's what they were doing. They were making her go down a darker path. And now Crisis is their way of saying, okay, now we're going to kind of fix it. So, okay, now let's get into that point. The episode ends, and then we see Audrey Marie Robinson, who looks still gorgeous as fuck. She's walking down a court. She's hearing these voices. She's laying down in the Wave Rider. She's listening to these voices and teleports in. And it's the same type of corridor that you see in the Flash and Star Labs. It's budgeted, so it's fine. I would have had her out in the middle. I would have had her out in the middle of nowhere, like a quarry or something, like rocks and everything. And that would have made a lot more sense. And the skies are black, the skies are red. She's on another planet, the skies are red, and now you see the Manny Monitor coming out over the ridge, and then you see his minions. You see the ones that he chose to be his Paragons. That'd have been cool. And you see her going, and that's when. And the other thing I didn't know is where the F is Pariah? Why didn't Pariah freaking come in? Whatever. So that's when he says that he's called the Anti-Monitor and his brother and this and this and this. And also he says that it's time for us to get the plan started. So his whole plan was to allow Harbinger to do what she needed to do and then pull her back into the fold. That's pretty much what his whole plan is. That's why the Monitor is quiet. That's why the Monitor doesn't reveal a lot of stuff, because he knows that his brother, that's who it is. His brother is going to pull people over to his side, and they're going to reveal all the secrets. That's why he doesn't reveal anything to Lila, because he knows that Lila is going to betray them. He knows. She's Harbinger. So, what do I rate this episode? This episode was a 6. The only reason why it wasn't a 2 is the fact that the Smallville was really good. Us seeing that broken Batman from the Dark Knight / Kingdom Come was awesome. And Brandon Routh in the suit, he looks great. It was a great homage to his character. I hope they give him a great send off so he can finally be able to book in Christopher Reeve's Superman's role. That would be great to see. That's the reason why it's not that brought it up 3 points right there. It would have been a 2. The writing was horrendous. But those scenes salvaged this episode for me. It was terrible. He's right on one thing. These people do not have an aspect of how to write. There are some things, and also direction. There are certain levels of direction that made absolutely no sense. Now, I'm going to get into this, and then I'm going to get out of here. It's almost about an hour. Now, what I say about the Smallville. Now I'm gonna bring back in the Smallville scene. Here's the thing that made me go, or what? That made no sense. Clark at the end of his own season, right before he's about to, after he took care of Darkseid and pushed Apocalypse out of orbit from Earth, he confronts freaking Lex in LexCorp. He and then he reveals that, dude, we're destined to be enemies, and I'm going to kill you. And Clark says, that's okay. I'll be here to stop you. I will always stop you. That was cemented it, that they're always going to be enemies. Always. But you have it now. You wrote in here that he gave up his powers and Lex is president. If Lex is president of the United States and this dude doesn't have any powers, what won't prevent Lex from going down there, putting 3 bullets in him, 3 bullets in those 2 little girls, and basically make Lois his bitch? What won't prevent him from doing that? The other leaguers? He doesn't give crap about them. He can easily kill them. He's president. He'll go after Clark. Clark's a threat. Get rid of him. What would prevent him from doing it? That made absolutely no sense. Why the hell would he give away his powers? I'll be like, nope. He should have held back. The whole kryptonite scene, it should have shown him just standing there and he's not feeling it. It's like he's been under that sun for so long. He's been Superman for so long, and he's been fighting for a long time. He can fake that he's getting affected by kryptonite. He's like, no, that doesn't hurt me. He picks it up and goes, it doesn't hurt me, but he just throws it away like, yeah, no. But that's kryptonite. He goes, doesn't affect me. And he alluded he lost his power. He gave away his powers. No, that fool still has his powers. He is never going to get rid of his powers as long as Lex is in power. No way. If Lex is dead, and if you say that Lex is dead, and there's no more threats on his world, then fine, he gives away his powers. I'll be perfectly okay with it. But Lex is president. That made no sense. No sense whatsoever. That's one. Then, the fact that, oh man, what the heck was it? Let me see. I gotta think about it for a moment. Was it the Kate? No. Yeah, I mentioned it. Yeah, how the hell was Kate beating Batman? Beating a Bruce Wayne in an exosuit that was able to punch Kara like 50 feet away from him. Like it's nothing. Like, done. That made no sense. No sense. What the fuck? So I'm gonna leave it there. Like I said, I'm gonna put Az's video down below. I do want you to watch his station. His Batwoman's reviews are phenomenal. It's great. But realize this: he doesn't watch any of these shows, so his understanding of what's going on makes no sense. He also regards Smallville as a better written show, and I go, no, they're not. No, it's not. It takes the whole core of Superman's story and throws it out the window. It's entertaining. I'm not saying it's terrible. I'm just saying that there are certain things in there that make absolutely no sense, and I will revisit that in my video about Smallville, and I will tell you exactly what they established and why I think that this was his arc. This was supposed to be his arc throughout season 1 to season 7, and from 7 to 10, they were just building up more stuff. They were just building up until they were going to say, okay, well, what are we going to do? Okay, let's do Darkseid. They're like, okay. So they started leaving clues that Darkseid's coming. Which I didn't like what they did with Darkseid. I was livid with how they did it. They turned him into a puff of smoke. I was like, what? That's not Darkseid. He's an essence of evil? Get the hell out of here. No. So I'm going to leave it there. Like, comment, share, subscribe down below. Hit that bell. Ding. And I will do some more videos. I'm going to be very busy today. I will not be anywhere near a computer. I'll be at my job from when I get there. I'm going to be leaving in after I finish my breakfast here. I already did my lunch. I'm going to be there all the rest of the day. So the moment I leave out of here, I'm going to be at work all the way until when I close. And I got to work again for the next couple of days. And then I'll be off. And then I'm going to be working the weekend. But I'm going to try to get a video out about that Smallville. I'm going to leave a note to myself to get that video. It is a very understanding video. I've watched Smallville. I've watched all of season 1 from all the way to season 10. I've watched it 3 times. I remember a good chunk about it. There were a lot of things that we can enjoy about it. There's some things that made me go, that's stupid. But I put in there videos about what I think about certain villains, and I'm gonna go back over them and show to you the villains for each season and what did I think of them. So you guys have a great one, and you have a great day. Bye.